Okay, this is our fourth video in our STEM design process series. You started by identifying a problem you wanted to solve. You moved on to investigating to learn everything you could about that problem. Then you interpreted that research to help you reframe your problem, get a better understanding of what you were going to do. And now it's time to actually start solving it. This step we're calling IDEATE. IDEATE means to brainstorm a ton of ideas. And this is the step where you will do just that. You will brainstorm lots of potential solutions to your problem and then analyze them to pick the one that fits the best. I really like this quote for this step. Innovation is creativity with a job to do. This is your step where you get to start solving, which is fun, but you have to solve within the principles that you've identified, and you have to solve for your user. So this is IDEATE. It's structured brainstorming. We have to talk about how are you going to objectively brainstorm innovative solutions that fit your user's needs. Often when we brainstorm, we have the idea we fall in love with, and it's really hard to see the value in other ideas or the drawbacks to that idea you really love. So we have to really work on how do you be objective about this. Here's what we need to focus on. You have reframed your problem. You have that statement that someone needs a way to do something because you learned something. You've identified your principles of what is going to make that solution work for your user. Now you need to ask this question. What service or product can you create to solve this problem for your user? First, brainstorm multiple ideas, but you want to make sure they align to your principles. What we'd like you to do is take a look at those 4 principles that you identified because you said that those were the 4 important things and see if you can brainstorm some ideas that align to each of those. What is an idea that is comfortable and provides a good night's sleep and is safe and whatever a 4th one might be? If that's a struggle, that's fine. Try to narrow it down to 2. You may have an idea that works for principle A and B, and another one that works for C and D, and a third that works for A and C, and you can go back and look at the other principles later, but try to align them to at least 2 of those principles. If you're struggling, try to pick one principle first and see how you can make an idea that works for that and solves the problem and is a service or a product. Then see how you can adjust it to address the other principles. It's a given, though, that you really should only be seriously considering ideas that fit with your own abilities, the timeline that you're given, the resources that you have. Don't brainstorm crazy out-of-the-box ideas just to have something written down, but also don't not put that crazy idea down. Put that crazy idea down and then think how you can bring it back to something that is doable for you or get other feedback on, hey, this is a crazy idea. This would be really cool, but it's too expensive, or I think it might take too much time. How could I pull it back to make it fit within these givens? If an idea is completely not doable, then try to improve it, or you should discard it. But you should only really hang on to ideas for the analyze step, which is next, that fit within those givens. So the second step is to analyze each idea against each principle in a decision matrix. And if you've been in an engineering class, you've probably used a decision matrix. It provides you with objective feedback on your ideas. And there's going to be an additional video specifically on how to do one for Capstone. But it, in theory, gives you an objective viewpoint on how each idea works for the principles that you've identified and should kind of keep that favoritism out of it a little bit. Grading-wise, for this step in the design process, your design target is that you can ideate to brainstorm multiple creative responses and evaluate the feasibility in relation to the constraints as well as the needs and wants of the users. So for a 4, we're looking that you have multiple appropriate ideas and they're evaluated against appropriate constraints and principles to identify the best solution. To move you up to a 5, we want appropriate yet distinctly different ideas. So for example, we shouldn't have 4 ideas about making an app that are just slightly different. That wouldn't be 4 distinctly different ideas. It would be, hey, I'm making an app, but idea A is to do this, idea B is to do this. So distinctly different. And that is the end of the ideate step.